What's up, everybody? This is Chris from Fast Cars Live, and today I want to talk to you about a couple little tips that we've learned while working on the Project JPS Camaro, and other fast fix build tips, if you will. Today I want to talk to you about removing the undercoating off the car, and also removing the emergency brake cable. A couple things that we learned that were hopefully can help save you guys some time. So what I've got here are the tools that we used to remove the undercoating off the car. It was a rubberized or asphalt based undercoating, which I'm not even exactly sure why it was on the car, because the car was manufactured in Van Nuys in Los Angeles and sold originally in Las Vegas and then back to California. So I'm not sure how or why it had undercoating on it, but it did, and we wanted to get it off and redo it, make it look nice underneath. So first thing I did is I went and looked up on YouTube, how to remove undercoating, and I found a bunch of different methods: scraping, heating with a torch and scraping, using chemicals, and then an air scraper. I saw someone use an air scraper, so I thought maybe that would be the best thing to try first. So that's the first thing we did. So we went to our local Harbor Freight and we got this air scraper. I will put a link in the description, and we basically use this medium-sized blade, but it does come with a bunch of different sized blades that you can use. I thought that would be the least messy of the options, and I didn't want to be climbing underneath the car with a torch and a scraper to get that stuff off, and I wasn't quite sure about chemicals. So we spent a lot more time than I originally thought it was going to take to scrape that undercoating off. We basically did one wheel well and started doing the underside of the car. And I think I posted a picture somewhere, and a buddy of mine, Joel from Hot Rod Specialties, commented back on our Instagram page on the picture I posted. And I'll post that picture for you as well. But I was basically in a hazmat suit for all intent and purposes. And Joel said, well, why don't you use Easy Off Oven Cleaner? And I thought, that's pretty interesting. I never thought of that, and nobody else on YouTube that I found mentioned anything about Easy Off Oven Cleaner. So of course I went in the kitchen and dug underneath the sink and grabbed my wife's Easy Off Oven Cleaner, and thought I'd give it a try. And lo and behold, it worked really, really well. So just a quick tip. I don't know what other chemicals other people were talking about, but you can go to your local grocery store and get Easy Off Oven Cleaner. Basically what we did is we hit it with the air scraper first, got most of everything off, went back with the Easy Off Oven Cleaner, and then just came back with a putty knife or a paint scraper and scraped the rest of it off. And for those hard to reach spots, just a little wire brush. And then finally went back with a good old-fashioned wire brush to finish it all up and make it look nice underneath. And it turned out really well, and we're getting ready to finish it up by putting the undercoating on. We've got to do a little seam sealing in the wheel wells. We dug the old seam sealer out, so we're going to go ahead and redo that so we can make sure that when it gets all back together and undercoated, that everything works out great. Anyway, it seemed to work for us. Hopefully it can work for you and save you some time. This is probably the least fun part of this whole project, but it's something that's got to be done if we want this to look decent when it's all done. We want this car to look underneath the hood and on the inside look brand new. The outside, at least for right now, is going to stay patinaed because it is the original paint and the original vinyl top on this car. Eventually it'll all get done, but at this point that's the plan.
Hey guys, we decided to give this little air scraper a try on the rubberized undercoating. It seems to be doing a pretty good job. Check it out. Definitely not the cleanest tool, but definitely does the job.
So we're going to be trying a few different options to take this undercoating off, but we'll definitely make sure we put a link in the description of everything that we use so you guys can check it out.
All right, so I'm underneath the Camaro now, and I'm just going to show you real quick what I'm talking about in terms of how that easy off oven cleaner and the wire brush has gotten everything off. As you can see, this is after the wire brushing. We got pretty good into the fender wells as well, the rear fenders. We're gonna end up putting some seam sealer on there before we re-undercoat. But if you can see, it looks pretty clean under here. Let's see if I can give you an idea of what the underneath looks like. All the way up into the trans tunnel. I still have some more wire brushing to do up there, but if you guys can see underneath here, it's gotten pretty darn good. So I was pretty impressed with the way that this turned out. Here's a better view. Right here, if you can see that, that is basically what the entire underside of this car looked like. Here's some more right here, what the undercoating looked like. I should have gotten some shots before we started on this, but the other thing I want to show you here is, if you can see the yellow, that's the easy off oven cleaner. There's some more down there. If you can see it, I haven't wire brushed this side yet, and you can actually see a little bit still up in the transmission tunnel of the yellow. So that's kind of what it turns into, the easy off oven cleaner turns into before we scraped it off with the putty knife. I'm going to take you back inside the Project JPS Camaro here real quick. What I've done is I've removed all the sound deadener, all the interior's out, and I removed the sound deadener because we're getting ready to put new sound deadener in it. And if you take a look in here, what I found is some of the sound deadener, as you can see where the easy off oven cleaner was sprayed last night. I wanted to let it sit where it's yellow here. Some of the sound deadener in this car is a petroleum based or an asphalt based or whatever you want to call it sound deadener, and it did not come off very easily. It kind of stuck to the inside of the car. So in order to prep it to get ready before we put on the new sound deadener, I wanted to get it all cleaned up, and we're going to use easy off oven cleaner again, and it seemed to work out pretty well. If you can tell, basically after letting it sit overnight, it is just scraping right off. You can see that. You want to make sure you're careful with this stuff. I was wearing a respirator when I sprayed it since it's all on the inside of the car. But it's working out pretty well. It's cleaning everything off pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with a wire brush after I'm all done scraping all of this out to the best of my ability, and we're going to use a wire brush to get this all nice and clean before we put the final coat, or the final undercoat, or excuse me, before we put the final sound deadener in it. Alright guys, it's Chris from Fast Cars Live. Hey, I was just working on the Project JPS Camaro and came up with a little issue, and it was removing the emergency brake cable from the firewall. So I'm getting ready to clean it up and paint it. So I wanted to get everything off the firewall. So I was having a bit of an issue, and I'll show you right here where we're talking. So there is where the emergency brake cable comes in through the firewall, and you can see it right there. And here's the cable itself that attaches to the emergency brake pedal. And I'm really having a hard time. I was really having a hard time getting it out, and I just thought I'd post this quick little tip for you. What I found is a 14mm wrench. If you slide that right over the top, and the way this thing works is, and I'll show you here in a second, but the way this thing works is as you push it through, there's some fingers, some metal fingers that expand and pop out, and that's what holds it in place. So what I was able to do is take this 14mm wrench and slide it over the top and twist it side to side, and what I was able to do is compress those fingers far enough where I could pull it through. And I'm going to go around right now and show you exactly how I did that. So here is where the emergency brake cable comes out through the firewall, and you can see I didn't push it all the way back in, but so it's actually out right now. But if you can see right through there, there is where the wrench is. So what I did is I stuck my hand through, and obviously you would need two people if you couldn't. Stuck my hand through and pushed that, and I was able to grab the emergency brake cable. All right, so I was able to grab the emergency brake cable on the outside while I was holding on and pushing and twisting that 14mm wrench and pop it out. You can see those little fingers. Hopefully you can see it. And as you slide the wrench over, it will compress those fingers down far enough to pop it out. So there you go. Hopefully that helps somebody else out and saves some time, and maybe saves you breaking something. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I appreciate it very much. And follow our build, the Project JPS Camaro build on YouTube and Instagram. If you like this video, please give us a big thumbs up. Please subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification button. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching.